He possessed more wealth than any emperor in human history. He could have slept on silk, feathers, or the backs of slaves. Yet, night after night, the great Khan slept on the hard earth. This wasn't poverty. It was a strategic choice that terrified his enemies. He understood a biological truth that modern men have completely forgotten. Comfort is not a reward. Comfort is a slow, silent executioner. To understand his power, we must look at what he refused to touch. Most men conquer the world so they can finally rest. Genghis conquered the world because he never allowed himself to rest. And it all started with the freezing cold floor of the steppe. In the 12th century, luxury was the ultimate sign of status. But the Khan saw luxury as a cage that softened the bones of warriors. He called the city dwellers grass-fed cattle, waiting for the slaughter. Evolutionary psychology tells us he was absolutely right. When an organism is safe, its body stops allocating energy to survival. Muscle atrophies, senses dull. The testosterone spike of the hunt vanishes. The Khan kept his men in a state of controlled deprivation. They rode for days with nothing but dried milk and horse blood. This wasn't cruelty. It was a method to keep their nervous systems electric. A man who is slightly hungry is sharper than a man who is full. A man who is cold moves faster than a man who is warm. Genghis didn't study biology, but he mastered the law of anti-fragility. The more you stress the system, the stronger it becomes. The more you pamper the system, the faster it decays. He looked at the walled cities of the south and saw coffins. Stone walls make men feel safe, and safety is the beginning of the end. So he made a rule that would define his entire reign. No Mongol was allowed to live within the walls of a conquered city. They took the loot, but they slept in the mud, because the mud kept them dangerous. To understand this mindset, you have to look at where he was forged. Genghis was born clutching a blood clot, an omen of war. But his true education began when his father was poisoned. His tribe abandoned him. He was 9 years old. Imagine a winter where the air freezes the moisture in your lungs. He didn't have a floor. He often didn't even have a tent. He ate rats. He ate roots. He fought wild dogs for scraps. This extreme deprivation triggered a survival adaptation. He learned that pain is just information. While the city princes were learning poetry, he was learning to kill silence. The steppe does not forgive mistakes. It kills you for them. This environment created a man with zero tolerance for inefficiency. When he finally united the tribes, he had a choice. He could have built a palace. He could have stopped. Instead, he kept the mobile state, the empire on horseback. Why? Because walls create politics. On the open plain, meritocracy is the only law. If you can ride and shoot, you are a general. If not, you are nothing. He feared that if his men slept in beds, they would become politicians. The floor kept them honest. The cold kept them together. This was the engine of the Mongol conquest. Not superior technology, but superior psychology. And then they met the softest civilization on earth. The Jin dynasty of China was the pinnacle of human luxury. Their generals wore robes so heavy they couldn't swing a sword. When the Mongols arrived, it wasn't a war. It was a shock. The Jin soldiers were fighting for a paycheck. The Mongols were fighting for the next meal. Genghis walked into Beijing, a city of infinite pleasures. He saw perfumes, exotic meats, and soft concubines. Most conquerors would have stopped right there. History is full of barbarians who became the civilizations they conquered. But Genghis felt a deep, instinctive revulsion. He saw the luxury as a virus. He ordered the city burned, not just to destroy it, but to remove the temptation from his own men. He marched them back out to the grasslands immediately, back to the wind, back to the floor. He told his sons, "If you eat their food, you become their slave." This discipline requires a mental fortitude we can't imagine. It is the ability to hold a diamond and throw it into the sea, because you know the diamond is heavy. But as he aged, the rot began to set in anyway. Genghis saw his grandsons wearing Persian silk. He saw them drinking wine instead of fermented mare's milk. He knew the end was coming, not from armies, but from entropy. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. He tried to warn them. He banned settled living. But the pull of the floor is hard to resist when a bed is waiting. Genghis died on campaign, in his tent, still a warrior. Within 2 generations, the empire fractured. His descendants built palaces. They got fat. They lost. The floor was forgotten. And with it, the anti-fragility that conquered the world. So, what does this mean for a man living in the 21st century? You don't need to sleep on dirt to apply the Khan's law. It's about voluntary discomfort. We live in an age of aggressive comfort. Everything is designed to make you soft. To be a king today, you must build your own step. Turn off the heating. Fast for 24 hours. Walk in the rain. Signal to your biology that you are not done fighting. When you reject comfort, you reduce fear, because you know you can survive without it. Genghis Khan slept on the floor to remind himself he was dangerous. Where is your floor? Find it. Or the world will eventually pull the rug out from under you. Be anti-fragile. Sleep well, but not too well.